a link to that recording so that if there's, because we're going to give you a lot of information in a short amount of time. And so there may be a need for you to go and review that information and be like, what did they say? And so we're going to post the recording on the website. We'll send everybody a link to that. And you'll be able to rewatch it if you want to, especially before the first day of school. So I'm going to pop out here real quick, share my screen. So here shortly, you should see the PowerPoint and see the agenda. So just to give you some introductions, Dr. Chad Sutton is the Deputy Superintendent of Academic Services, and I don't know if he's on the call or not, but he is my supervisor and supervises all academic services for the North Kansas City School District. Kristen Havens is the Executive Director of Academic Services, and she specifically supervises kindergarten through 5th grade. I, of course, am Eric Sipes, Executive Director of Instructional Technology. And we do have Kyle Bundy with us tonight. He's going to give you some overview of Canvas. He is an instructional coordinator for technology, and he's also going to be monitoring the chat over there so that we get your questions collected for the FAQ to be posted online. So just as a little rundown on how tonight's going to go, we're going to give you an overview of Canvas. Kyle's going to jump in here in a minute and talk about the Canvas student app. This presentation is really geared for kindergarten through 6th grade because they haven't had that exposure to Canvas as 6th or 7th grade through 12th grade they have. So they understand the Canvas app and how it works and so on and so forth. But Kyle's going to talk about the parent app. He's going to talk about how you as a parent can become a parent observer. A parent observer allows you to see what your student is doing in their Canvas app. He's going to talk to you about setting notifications so that you get notified when an assignment is due, when an assignment may be missing, those types of things. He's also going to share with you, he has set up, our instructional coordinators have set up a YouTube playlist for parents to use Canvas. So there are YouTube videos that they have created, and he's going to share that with you so that if you have a question about Canvas, you actually can go to our YouTube channel and walk through those instructional videos. He's going to talk about a student orientation module that'll be available to your students. And then we're going to talk about what a sample schedule is going to look like for those students that have chosen Canvas as their learning option. We're going to talk about what kind of expectations you should expect for classroom involvement with your child. And then last but not least, we're going to talk about library resources that are available to your children due to the fact that they are learning from home. There are a number of library resources that are available virtually for your students to access. And Angie Wiegers, our coordinator of library media specialist, was not able to join us, but she created a short little video so that we can include it with the presentation. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Kyle, like I said, and he's going to walk through student app and so on. So Kyle, you want to take over?
Absolutely. Thank you, Dr. Sipes. I appreciate that. And I know, like Dr. Sipes was saying, we've got almost 200 people in the meeting here. So I know as people join in, if we could just make sure that we have microphones muted, that'd be fantastic. That way we'll have less echo and less feedback bouncing in and out so we can all hear. So like Dr. Sipes mentioned, I'm going to be talking a lot about the Student Canvas app today and really what that experience is going to look like for our kids, knowing full well that you're at home with them and you want to best support them through this work as we start school on Tuesday. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen here, and then I'm going to show you my iPad. So give me just a moment to get all my stuff moving around here. And hopefully you're seeing my screen, and hopefully my iPad screen has popped up on your screen there. So if somebody wants to just give me like a thumbs up in the chat, that'd be fantastic, or give me an exclamation point over there in the chat, that'd be good too. So, all right. So when your students pick up their brand new iPads, I know that schools have been communicating over the last week or so here about when to come and pick up new iPads. When you pick up their new iPad for the students, they're going to walk you through getting the device set up and getting signed in so that the device is actually assigned to your students, your children. And then we want to make sure that you get the student Canvas app logged on, signed in, ready to go. So that way, when courses start getting published and work starts being assigned, the kids are not going to be behind. So when you sign into your iPad, you should hopefully see this app right here called Student. I can see this one right here. It's this one called Canvas Student. That's the one that should automatically download onto your student's device. Now, I will tell you that if the student app does not automatically download onto the device, it can be found in this app here called Self-Service. And Self-Service is this one, kind of has the red and blue and the yellow and the green. And students can actually sign into Self-Service with that app, and they would sign in with their lunch number, and they would sign in with their birthday password. And then they would simply go into Self-Service and they would find the app, and it's actually not called Canvas. You're just going to find it under the word Student. That's all it's called, is just Student. So if it does not automatically download onto the iPad home screen, you can search it in Self-Service and you can download it from there. So when a kid gets that on their iPad, they're going to launch the Student app. And the first thing it's going to ask them to do is find their school. And this is actually, you're just going to type in North Kansas City, or just type in NKC, and you'll see it pre-populates there with North Kansas City schools. So you'll just tap on North Kansas City schools. It will redirect them to the Canvas login page. And the best part about this is that once the kids sign into the app, they don't have to sign in anymore. So it's just a one-time sign in and then they're done. So then they will simply put in their lunch number, and then they're going to put in their birthday password. Birthday passwords for all of our students in K-8 are defaulted to month, day, day, and the 4-digit year. Okay, so of course 0 before a single digit month. So month, day, year, 4-digit year to get their password in there. So let me just go ahead and type my password in really quick, and then we will log in. So students will log in lunch number, birthday password, and then this is kind of what they see on their landing page. Now, right now, if a student logged into Canvas, they're not going to see any courses. Our courses won't actually go live. I was told they're going to be pushed out live starting tomorrow. So if a student logs in tomorrow, they should start seeing courses being published and populated there on their what's called dashboard within Canvas. You can see I have several courses as a teacher that I have in here that I've made visible for me. The one that they'll probably most likely see first is one called Homeroom. So when they sign in, they're going to see a little tile for a homeroom course, a math course, a language arts course, which is reading and writing combined into one course. They'll see one for science and they'll see one for social studies. But most likely they're just going to see the homeroom one first before September 8th. And then as we get closer to that September 8th start date, you'll see those courses being published and work that will be in there. So let me give you an example of what a student might do on any day to come into a course. So I'm just going to pick a course and we're just going to pretend that it's my homeroom course. So I'm going to see one down here that actually says homeroom on it. So when a kid taps on that course, they will actually see kind of like a landing page. And for K-5, theirs may look slightly different if they have a homeroom course there, but then there's a big button that says announcements and modules for kids. And so every day, teachers are going to push out announcements to all of their courses, and they can simply tap the big announcements button there on the middle of the screen, right where I'm at here, or I can tap on announcements on the left and it'll take me to that place. Announcements are a great place where teachers will push out just a quick piece of information to students and parents who are observing their students in Canvas. So if I tap on announcements, I might see the first announcement there, and then I can open it up and it may have a little button, it may have some text, it may have a video for me to watch. It may have a link in there, but it'll have some announcements, some information to send out to students. So it's just a quick little information piece that they can get there. And then the second place that all your students are really going to work from and most likely where all their work is going to be done from is within this button called modules. So they may tap on the modules button instead. And again, depending on the course, depending on the age of kid, the buttons may look slightly different, but they're going to have all those words there. So I tap on modules, and then they're going to see work built out for them, generally week by week. I am pointing this one out to you right here because in the homeroom course, and again, hopefully starting tomorrow, those courses will be available. In the homeroom course, all of our students are going to have what's called, and you can see it on the screen here, this module called Student Orientation iPad Module. And we're going to ask that you work through this with your students. So it's a series of content pages with some videos. There's some sample assignments. There's a sample quiz. There's a sample discussion board to take part in, where they really get to practice doing all the different types of tasks and skills, like technical things that Canvas would ask them to do. As far as like, how would I take a screenshot and submit a screenshot for an assignment? How would I record a video and submit that to an assignment? How would I do a discussion board where I could answer back to a discussion board in my class? So this module, and you're going to take, please don't expect to do all this in one day. It's a lot here. So I would think, over the course of several days or a week, you might get through this with your kids as you just practice some of these skills. But it makes it really handy. They simply tap on the first page, and then there's like a little next button down there in the bottom corner you can see. So through this module and also the modules that kids will do in class for their regular math, ELA, reading, writing, science, social studies, you're going to see this little next button that they can just tap. And then that little launch external tool button launches a video for them to actually watch there. So you'll just tap through things and you'll work through. There's all kinds of content that kids can get through. So I really encourage you to as soon as that homeroom course is available for your kids, get in there, look at that orientation module, start working through that. There's also going to be another module or two that's in there for orientation purposes in that homeroom course. So you may end up seeing a couple different orientation modules there. So I just wanted to highlight that as a place, like I said, that your kids are going to go to in Canvas. Like I said, when they see their courses, they're going to tap on a course and they're going to see some really easy buttons to tap on. And like I said, most likely for our kids, we're going to see where it just says modules and announcements. Those two buttons are going to be the ones that most kids are going to see and do all their work in there. So I hope that made sense there. And again, like I said, announcements are just those good one-way communications between the teacher and the student, teacher, and parents who are being observers in class. I am going to jump out of the student app just for one brief moment here. Just as a couple of really quick troubleshooting tips for you as parents and guardians with your kids at home with their iPads. A couple things to remember. Number one, it's always beneficial to make sure that under the settings button, which is this little gray gear down here, that your software is always up to date on an iPad. So under general and software update, it'll check to see if there's updates available. And if you do have those, I would certainly encourage you to run those and get those done. So that way your student's device can be kept up to date as much as possible. The other thing that you might need to have to do occasionally is do just what's called a hard restart of your device. And that's nothing serious, but if you have an iPad that's acting a little wonky or a little funky sometimes, if you look on the iPad, there's a power button on the top edge of the iPad and a home button on a circle on the face of the iPad. You'll press and hold those two buttons at the exact same time and keep holding them until the iPad reboots and the Apple logo pops back up. That's what's called a hard restart. And generally that and running your iOS, your software update under settings, is going to fix 99% of your problems on the iPad. So please make sure that you're doing that, just running those updates and keeping those things up to date there. Okay. So we showed you really easily how I sign into the student app. And like I said, once I've signed in, I'm always into the student app. And so I can always go back and find my classwork really, really easily. So whether it's math, I'll tap on the math course. Whether it's writing or reading, I'll tap on the language arts course. When it's science, I'll tap on the science course. And again, like I said, we tried to make it as streamlined as possible for families, for students working at home, that they have really two places to go on an iPad in a class. They'll go to announcements to get just quick information, and they'll go to modules to do all their schoolwork. Okay, so we tried to make that as streamlined and easy as we possibly can for parents. All right, so I think I've shown everything I want to just on the student iPad side of things. The other thing I do want to mention to you, one thing. Under notifications, on your student iPad, if we would go ahead and mute the background, that'd be fantastic, please. Thank you. On the student iPad, it's going to be really important for your students to set up their notification. So that way that they're, number one, not getting overwhelmed with notifications on their iPad, but they're also not being under-informed. So on this little hamburger menu, the little the three lines up there in the corner, when you tap on that, and then you tap on settings, you're going to see where there's a little button that says email notifications and push notifications. The push notifications are those ones that come out to mobile devices. So these are ones that you can certainly go through and you can have kids turn on and off. So I would say, for example, for kids, probably the best ones to make sure that you do would be to have announcements definitely turned on. So that way when a teacher pushes an announcement out, it goes out to the kid immediately. I would say due dates would you want to turn on as well. So when a teacher assigns something and gives a due date or the due date changes, they get notified. Grading is a good one. So when teachers grade something, they get notified. Invitation's a good one for kids as well. That way, if they get invited to like a web conference through Canvas, they have that one invited to them and they get that invitation. Submission comments is critical for kids as well under students. That way, when a teacher leaves feedback, whether it's typed or written or video feedback or audio feedback, that comes right to the kids. So we definitely want to have those on there. And then the other ones I would say would be the conversation message, and that's what's called the inbox in Canvas. So Canvas also has a built-in inbox where kids can message their teacher and teachers can message the kids, basically like an email function within Canvas. And then you as a parent will also have that ability too when we talk about the parent observer settings here in a second. So we definitely want to get those set up for kids right there. And again, you can go in later and you can customize those if you're feeling like, hey, I'm not getting enough notifications or I'm getting too many notifications. You can certainly do that under the push and under email notifications as well. These look a little bit different because the kids will actually get an immediate or a daily or a weekly or don't send me anything at all. So you can customize the same types of notifications here that you would under the push notifications. Okay. And again, I would say announcements, definitely you want that one immediately for your kids right there. That one has to be immediate just because as teachers send those out, you want to get them as soon as they possibly get them. Due dates, maybe you say that one, I want a daily on that one. Maybe you want grading, maybe you want that for daily. Maybe I want invitations immediately and late grading immediate, or late grading, it doesn't need to be on there because that's for teachers. Submission comments immediately as well. Maybe discussions, you don't have to put those on there because those are already going to go out through the modules. So again, there's lots of different ones that you can customize in here, but just make sure that kids are, you're walking through that with kids to customize those, and then you're doing that for yourself later on. So we'll talk about how that looks like for parents. The other thing I'll mention to you on the student iPad app, we're going to talk about the parent observer role here in just a second and how you as parents can sign up to be observers of your students. Okay, so one of the things I'm going to talk about today is what's called getting a pairing code from your kids. So if you have the student iPad signed in for your kids, the pairing code on the iPad is really easy to find. You tap on that little hamburger menu again, and you tap settings, and you see a button there that says pair with observer. And when you tap on that, that's a pairing code that gets generated for your kids. Now, don't use that pairing code because that's not the one for your kids. That's actually for me, so you're not going to want to use that code. When you go into your kid's iPad and you tap pair with observer, it'll go ahead and generate a new code for you. And then you can grab that code and you can see as I do it, it generates a brand new code every time. So I can grab that code and I can use that code here in just a moment to actually create my parent observer account. So you can find that there. Okay. So I think I covered everything under the student iPad app as far as getting you signed in or downloading it out of the self-service, making sure we know how to update our iPad, making sure we know how to hard restart it in case we have some troubleshooting, and then how they can easily go into courses and find content, again, through that announcement or module button. And then again, like I said, that homeroom course should hopefully be showing up tomorrow with that student orientation iPad module that we really want you to work through with your students to kind of help guide them through some of the different critical technical pieces of using Canvas. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and take this display off and I'm going to move to my Mac. So hopefully now you're seeing my MacBook instead. And I want to show you here how you actually become a parent observer. So a parent observer is a wonderful role that you can sign up for to essentially follow your student in Canvas. And you get to sign up one time and one time only for your kid, and you don't have to worry about doing it every single year. So that's like a huge hooray for that right there. You sign up one time for your student, and then you're done for the duration of their career in North Kansas City. Okay, let me go ahead and jump into that really fast here. And we'll go to, first of all, we'll just go to the North Kansas City homepage just to kind of get us all in the right spot here. So let me go ahead and do a couple things first. I'm going to close out some other windows so we don't need all those different things there. All right, so from the North Kansas City homepage, which is www.nkcschools.org, you can get to Canvas as a parent by scrolling down, and kind of underneath the big video tile, there's a button that says Canvas. And you'll click on Canvas, and then you'll click again here, this button that says Canvas. Okay. Now, if you signed into your student iPad and you already have that pairing code visible, like I just showed you under the student iPad app, okay, you can use that pairing code to create an account. Now, if you don't have the iPad app set up, and you want to sign in through the web as your student, you can do that. So what you would do here, the same exact thing, you would type in their lunch number and you would type in their birthday password, and you can sign in as the student. And then when you sign in as the student, you see a little button in the left-hand corner that says account. And then underneath account, about the fourth option down, it says settings. And you can click settings there underneath your student's account. And then over on the right-hand side, there's a button that says pair with an observer. And this will also give you a pairing code from this location. They work from either way. You can get it from the app or you can get it from the web here. Doesn't matter which one, but you can also grab pair with observer right there as well. So you just want to copy that or have that code written down. And it is case sensitive, so be aware of that. And then once you have that code, you simply log out of your student's account and you go back to the main page here where you'd sign into Canvas. And then if you've never created a parent observer account before, you're going to see right here in the middle of your screen above the login, there's a little link that says parent observer of a Canvas user. You're going to click on that and it's going to take you to a form to fill out. And so here what you do is you fill in your first and last name. Then you put in whatever email address that you want. So your personal email address that you want to assign as your parent observer email. So you get to choose whatever email address you want to have for your sign up. So you fill in your email, you go ahead and pick whatever password you would like to be associated with that account. So please make sure you remember that password. Then you re-enter that password and then you simply paste that pairing code in down below. And then just make sure you check that box and then you click the button that says start participating. So really it's that easy. You grab that pairing code either from the iPad or from the web in the student's account, and then you fill out the form one time with your name, your email, your password, and then that pairing code. And then once you have that pairing code put in there, you check the box, you say start participating. And now you are what's called a parent observer of that one student in Canvas. Okay? So here's the best part about this. If you have multiple students, so say you have maybe 2 or 3 kids, or maybe more than that in North Kansas City, that you want to observe, once you've signed up for that account, now you can just sign in with your parent account. So like this is my parent account. I'm going to sign in with my parent credentials now because I'm a parent observer in the district. So I'll sign in with my account. And now under my account, I can click the account button here. And I scroll down about 6 or 7 options down where it says observing. And then now I can just simply start putting in more pairing codes for the rest of my students that I want to observe. So it makes it really easy after I've signed up and created my account the first time. For the second, the third, the fourth, and so on, I simply just start putting their new pairing codes in and then just click add student. And then it just puts them in a list right down below here. So then you'll see all of your students who you're actually observing within Canvas. Okay, so that makes it really, really easy for you to sign up to be a parent observer. Now, I know I went through that pretty quickly, so let me just show you one thing that's going to help you right here. As Dr. Sipes mentioned, we do have a district instructional technology YouTube channel. So if you go to YouTube and you search NKC instructional technology, okay, this is our YouTube channel. There is a playlist right here called Canvas for Parents. Okay, Canvas for Parents. And in that playlist, the very first video walks you through how to become a parent observer for your kids' courses. And then the second video is, hey, how do you go ahead and add more students to your parent observer account? And the third video is, hey, what are my notifications as a parent that I should have set up for myself? So these are some videos that are going to be really helpful videos for you to watch there on that YouTube channel. And then also as a parent observer and you got a kiddo at home that you're trying to support in Canvas, we've got a great playlist right here called Canvas for iPad Students. So this is a great playlist that you can utilize to help your kids, your students, your children at home to help them through Canvas. So when they want to submit different types of assignments, there's all kinds of videos in here. How do they use the inbox? How do they check their notifications? How do they check assignments and feedback in Canvas when a teacher gives them grades and feedback in Canvas? How do they post to discussion boards? So there's a great playlist of videos that you can use to help your kids as well within Canvas. Okay. All right. So just so I'm clear on this, we've got that parent observer set up. We can set up your accounts. Again, you can paste in more pairing codes for multiple students down the road. A question came up in our last session. What if I have multiple parents that want to sign up to be parent observers? You can absolutely do that. So if you have maybe mom signs up first and fills this out with her email address to become a parent observer, she can do that. And then dad wants to do the same thing. Dad's going to go grab the pairing code from the kid's account. He's going to come here. He's going to fill this out with his email address and put the pairing code in. Or if stepmom or stepdad or grandma or grandpa or aunt or uncle or whatever parent or guardian wants to become a parent observer for their students, they do that by simply using their individual email address to sign up for that account. So you can absolutely have more than one parent observing one single kid. So if you've got one student who you have mom, dad, stepmom, stepdad, you could have all four of those parents observing that one kid if they each create their own account and link that pairing code in, and they'd each have a different pairing code each time for that student. Okay. All right. So we've done that. We've showed you how to become a parent observer. For you, again, you can also set your own notifications in Canvas. So when you're in your parent observer account, I simply click on my account and notifications, and then I can go through here and I can start setting up my notifications. So as a parent, I would definitely say for your notifications, you're going to want to have probably due dates to be daily as a parent. So when due dates happen or due dates change, daily for that. I wouldn't worry about grading policies or course content or files. I would definitely do announcements immediately for you as a parent. So when teachers push out announcements to kids, you also get those announcements as a parent observer. Grading, I would definitely put on there as well. So when teachers actually enter grades, you'll see those grades as they come into the course as well. And you can either do that immediately or daily. Submission comments, again, that's where when a teacher leaves feedback, either typed or written, picture, video, whatever it may be, audio, you'll get that feedback as well. And then conversation message. If you're a parent observer, not only can teachers inbox students within Canvas, but they can then also inbox you as the parent observer within Canvas. And you can go into Canvas and inbox parents. You as a parent can go in and inbox teachers within Canvas there too. So it just gives you another avenue of communication between you as the parent and the teacher in the classroom. So just easy things to do for you to set up notifications for yourself as the parent observer. Okay. And then I've mentioned the playlist. So I would certainly recommend checking that out. The other thing that I would definitely recommend for you as parents to look into would be on your own mobile device, your cell phone, okay, is looking at what's called the Parent Canvas app. So the students have their own app called Canvas Student, the red colored one, and then parents can have their own app called Canvas Parent. And so I would say get the app after you have actually created your Parent Observer account. So once you've created that Parent Observer account, you can go out to the App Store on an iPhone, go out to the Google Play Store on an Android phone, and you can download the Canvas Parent app. It's totally free. And you'll sign in the exact same way. You'll type in for the school's name, North Kansas City Schools or NKC. You'll pick North Kansas City. It'll take you to the login page. You'll enter in your email address that you signed up for the Parent Observer account. You'll enter in your password that you created for the Parent Observer account. And then when you sign in, you'll see something that looks like this on the phone. And of course, you've got things that I've had to block out right here because I don't want to share student data and student information here. So I'll try to explain this the best I can. Across the bottom, you see a button called Courses. There's one for Calendar, and there's one for Alerts. So the courses, you simply see a list of all the classes that your student is enrolled in within Canvas. Okay? At the top, you'll see their initials or their picture if they've set up a little logo picture in Canvas. And then this right here, where my icon, my mouse is at, this is actually the student's name. So this one's really handy, especially if you have multiple students that you're observing in Canvas. So if you have multiple kids from kindergarten, even up through high school, what you do is you simply click the little caret drop down. As long as you're observing all those different kids, you can click the caret drop down, and then you can just tap a button to switch between your children. So it makes it really, really handy there to switch between, maybe if you have a third grader, you can switch between the third grader and the eighth grader, or the second grader and the sixth grader, or the kindergartner and the high schooler. So you can easily click that little drop down and just toggle back and forth between all the students that you observe in Canvas as a parent observer. And then again, I see all the courses right here. So I see the different classes they're enrolled in. So let's say, for example, I want to jump into the science class. I can see the science class. I'll actually see a grade right here for Canvas. I will be very clear on this. Please, the grade in Canvas is almost never going to reflect what's actually in PowerSchool for the reported grade. So when you look at reported grades in PowerSchool, they're going to be a little bit different than Canvas because Canvas reports a year-long grade compared to quarters that you would see in school. We report quarter grades in school, so that way things are reported differently within PowerSchool there. So, but let's say I want to jump into the science class because I'm noticing maybe the grade in science class is not where I want it to be. I can click on that science button there, and it takes me in, and I can now see all the different assignments or quizzes or discussions or things that have been graded in Canvas for that class. So I can see the score, I can see whether it was marked complete or incomplete. I can see, oh, this one didn't have a score at all. They'll even say like incomplete if they didn't turn it in at all, or they'll even say missing if they didn't turn it in. And then if I wanted to actually message the teacher about a specific assignment, I can click this little message button down here, this little purple message button, and it will take me to an inbox where I can see the teacher's name. I can say, hey, it's regarding this student's name with the grades, and I can just simply type them a message right there. And I can send a quick inbox message through Canvas to that teacher about that assignment if I want to. Or at the bottom, if I'm done with courses, I can click on calendar, and I can now toggle between the dates on the calendar. And when I see multiple dots, it means I have multiple items for that calendar date. So things that are posted as far as maybe an announcement on that date, or maybe it's an assignment that's due that day. So I can kind of keep a good idea on what are some different dates that are coming up and things that are going to be due within Canvas on those specific dates. And again, I might tap on this geometry one here, this math one, and I can tap on that specific day and I can see, oh, this is the assignment that's due on this specific date. So you can see this was assigned back on April 9th and it was due on, it was assigned on April 8th and it was due on April 9th. So you can kind of see the just task that's there. And if you want to even inbox them about that simple task, you can use that little button down below there with that message icon. And that's where that message inbox goes right there. So you can see the teacher's name. You can say by the student regarding this assignment on this day, and you can send the message there. And then this is the alerts button down below. So this is where you can actually see different alerts for all the different courses that come in. So if they have lots of different classes they're enrolled in, all those alerts will come in one place here for you. This little megaphone means that's the announcement that was been sent out. This little red one means, hey, a missing assignment. So if a teacher actually records a missing assignment, you'll see that missing notification right there under the alert for you as the parent observer in the class there. And then one thing I wanted to mention, you can also do a little more customizing on the parent app as well to kind of keep up to date on what's going on with kids' classes. When you see the little hamburger menu up in the upper left-hand corner here within the parent app, when I tap on that, it takes me to this screen right here, and I can now tap Manage Students in the Parent Canvas app. And then I would see all the list of my kids, and so I could tap on a name. And so maybe I tap on one of my students that I'm observing, and I want to say, hey, I want this button to be toggled on so that way when a teacher marks something as missing in Canvas, I'm going to get an immediate notification. I'm going to get an alert on my phone that says, hey, this assignment is missing for this kid. And you'll get that alert for that. Or if you have a specific announcement that goes out, you're going to get an alert that goes into that alerts column for that specific announcement for that course there. So these alerts that you see right here, that is this alert column right here. They're going to go into this alert section right here. So when you see missing things or announcements, they would go filter into that alerts section right there. Or if you want to say, hey, if they turn in an assignment and I can mark this maybe at 60%, so if a student ever gets a grade below 60% on a specific assignment, you'll get an alert for that saying, hey, this assignment was actually lower than 60%. And you can kind of then have that as a talking point for your students saying, hey, I noticed you turned in this assignment today for math. I noticed it was below 60%. Let's walk through this and see what's going on here. And you can kind of have that as a talking point between you and your student there to kind of keep up on things. And of course, we already walked through the student iPad app. So you can see again, this is kind of what that student iPad app looks like. As those courses become published over the next couple of days, you're going to see these little tiles pop up in their dashboard for homeroom, for math, for language arts, for science, for social studies. So you'll see all those courses that are in there. Okay. So again, like I said, that Parent Canvas app, highly recommend that one. After you become a parent observer, after you get signed up, grab that app, sign into it, and then you'll have all your kids that you can toggle back and forth between there. And of course, you can always just simply go right to the student iPad app yourself for your kids. Have your kids say, hey, bring me your student iPad. Let's go into your student iPad app and let's look at that for Canvas and see what's going on within your course there too. So I know I gave you a ton of information there in a fairly short amount of time. I do so appreciate the time I've been given today to talk about this. Again, this session is going to be recorded for you. I'm going to turn this back over to Eric here in just a second, Dr. Sipes, and I will do my best to go into the chat and try to address any questions that maybe came up in regards to the student app in Canvas or the Parent Canvas app if we can. So on the Parent Canvas app, like I said, make sure you get signed up to be a parent observer first, then get the app going there. For your students, if it's not already on their new iPad, they can pull it out of self-service, and it's again just under the word student in the parents or in self-service. You just literally search for students, and it's that red student Canvas app that they can sign into. So thank you all so much for your time. Eric, I'm going to turn it back over to you. I wish you all a great start to your school year. Thank you all so much for your time tonight.
All right, fantastic. Thank you, Kyle. And as Kyle said, session is recorded, so you can go back. We will post it to our website. We will send everyone a link that is utilizing Canvas as their virtual option so that you can go through the video and the steps that Kyle just showed you at your own pace. You can play it for 10 seconds and hit pause and move on. So that will be available to you, and I highly recommend that you do that. So with that, I apologize. I will. So a sample schedule for you and your students. This kind of gives you an outline of what a typical week might look like for your students. So your student will be in a homeroom class, and there will be very frequent live morning meetings for the homeroom teacher and the homeroom students that are virtual and are face-to-face to connect with one another through what are called community circles and through social emotional lessons. Those will be, like I said, frequent morning meetings that will be set up. Your teacher will send out the links to those meetings. I will tell you, due to the fact that you are virtual, they are optional. No attendance will be taken for those morning meetings, but North Kansas City Schools realizes the importance of the social emotional piece and the connection to community between your students and the other students in their classes, that this is something that we really want to offer to all families, whether they're virtual or in person. And so those will be available to you, and you'll be getting more information from your homeroom teacher. But as far as the schedule goes, you'll have a reading lesson, a writing lesson, a math lesson, and a science or social studies lesson. Each one of those should take you approximately 45 minutes to maybe an hour, depending on the lesson. And then you will have one encore lesson each day as well. So you might have PE on Monday, art on Tuesday, music on Wednesday, PE on Thursday. So we're asking you, or through Canvas, you will be given essentially 4 lessons in reading, 4 lessons in writing, 4 lessons in math, and then your science and social studies, along with one encore a day. And Fridays will serve as a catch-up day. Okay, so it'll be a catch-up day for you as virtual students, and it will be a catch-up day for the teachers where they may pull small groups of the virtual students to meet with either individually or even small groups. So depending on what the needs may be, what reteaching may need to happen based on that week's lessons, those may happen on Friday. So Friday is going to be that catch-up day. So you should get probably 4 reading lessons, 4 writing lessons, 4 math lessons, then your science and social studies, and 1 encore a day, which would be 2 PE a week, an art a week, and a music a week, all through Canvas. Okay, so that kind of gives you a sample schedule on what it may look like for you. Now, some of that may be adjusted for you based on the fact that you are virtual. We do encourage you to give your kids breaks throughout the day so that they're not sitting down at the table and working 3-4 hours in a row specifically on homework. Giving them those breaks throughout the day where they can get out, take a walk, those types of things helps break up the schedule a little bit. So as far as classroom involvement, what expectations should you have as a Canvas student is, again, you'll have those frequent live morning meetings that you can expect, those social emotional lessons, the ability to be able to connect with your classroom peers that are either face-to-face or the other virtual kids within your classroom. You also should expect a live teacher conference in reading, writing, and math. So you get 1 per subject every 2 weeks. So you'll get 3 conferences total every 2 weeks, specifically on those specific contents. So you'll get a reading conference, you'll get a writing conference, and you'll get a math conference live with the teacher every 2 weeks. You may also get live small group instruction. Again, like I said, those Fridays are going to be catch-up days. So you may get small group instruction for those that may need intervention as determined by our district assessments, which all students will have to take. And then you should expect to be included in class celebrations. So if there's a class celebration going on in the class as a virtual student in that class, you should be included in those celebrations virtually as well. Now, when it comes to teacher interaction, what should you expect as a virtual student through Canvas? Again, we go back to those Teams links and times will be communicated to you from those morning meetings and those individual small group conferences that I talked about. If you happen to not be able to make a conference, the teacher will review the work that you've provided through Canvas, and they will provide written feedback in place for that live conference. So it won't necessarily be rescheduled if you can't make it that day, but written feedback will be provided through Canvas. Teachers also will provide general and specific feedback to work that you're given in Canvas throughout the week. As you post your assignments to Canvas, they will give you feedback. When it comes to accessibility to the teacher, one thing that we need to make sure and remind everyone is that most of our teachers are teaching face-to-face students as well. So let's say you have a question for a teacher on a specific assignment. If you email that teacher or call that teacher, you may not get an immediate response because they may be teaching face-to-face. So our expectation as North Kansas City Schools for all teachers, whether teaching virtual or face-to-face or anything, is that they return calls and emails within 24 hours. We still have that same requirement for our teachers in the virtual environment. And please note also, as stated, that a designated adult at home does need to be directly involved with your child during the school day in order to assist them through some of this. Our library resources. So Angie Wiegers is our library media coordinator. She was unable to join us tonight, but she actually sent me a short little video, which I'm going to play as well, so that it can be included in the recording so that you can access it at a later date. Some of the things that she's going to talk about is Destiny. Destiny is our North Kansas City library media checkout system. Students probably are familiar with Destiny. It is available under our students link from our North Kansas City webpage, and she'll talk about that. She's going to talk about Learn 360, which is an educational video service that the district subscribes to. May be a great resource for you if you have a child that's interested in a certain topic. They can click on Learn 360 and find educational videos about that topic. Curbside pickup. Our library and media specialists are dedicated to providing curbside pickup for you virtual parents at home and students. You can check out a physical book through our Destiny app, and the library media specialist will put that book on hold and notify you when that book is available for pickup, and you can drive by and pick that up. And then we also have subscriptions to 2 different ebooks apps in the self-service, which are free for all students. The Epic app, which again your students may be very familiar with, is a K-5 app that's in self-service that students can go in, find grade-specific books, great books at their reading level, those types of things, and they are delivered directly to the iPad itself. And you have the Libby app, which is a K-8 resource. It is specifically connected to Mid-Continent Public Library, and you check out an ebook through Mid-Continent exactly like you would a physical book, but it's delivered to the Libby app, which is on their iPad as well. So I'm going to show you this video.
Hello, NKC families. Thanks for joining us. My name is Angie Wiegers, and I am the library coordinator for the district. Your virtual students have many resources available to them. One of the first resources I want to tell you about is Destiny. This is our online catalog where our titles are stored, but it's also where you're going to find a ton of district resources. To access Destiny, you can go here, nkcschools.falloutdestiny.com, or go to nkcschools.org and click on student links. If I go to nkcschools.org, I'm going to scroll down and find student and staff links and click. Once there, I'm going to click on student bookmarks. These resources are all in alphabetical order, so I'm just looking for Destiny, and then I'll click. Then you're going to choose your home school. I'm going to choose Belle Prairie, and then in the upper right-hand corner, I'm going to click Log In. From here, students put in their student ID number. Their password is their 8-digit birthday, 2 for the month, 2 for the day, 4 for the year. This is the home page for Destiny. The different libraries will have different home pages, but they'll have all of these resources listed that you might be interested in. How about go to or facts? These are great places for them to go. Another place for them to go is Learn 360. This is our educational video streaming service. If kids are curious or want to know more about a topic, all subjects are listed in Learn 360. All they have to do is click on Learn 360 and type in the general username and password NKCS. From there, I want to talk to you about how to access MCPL resources. That can be done right here in Destiny. I'm going to click on MCPL and then click on My Account. All students in district have a digital card. MCPL will ask for a username and a PIN. In order to get there, students will need to type in NKC and their student ID number, and then for their password, their 8-digit birthday, 2 for the month, 2 for the day, and 4 for the year. MCPL has a ton of resources available to them. Libby is also available in self-service for students K through 8. Libby is MCPL's platform for ebooks. Students will find a variety of genres and choices there. This year, all libraries are providing curbside service for students who would like print books. Your homeschool librarians will send out information detailing how to put holds on books and when the books will be available for pickup. Finally, all virtual students K through 5 will have the opportunity to move through a student-centered digital citizenship module. This module will cover how students can stay safe online, as well as online etiquette and finding a balance. I hope these resources will help. Please know that we are in this adventure together. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to your school librarian or myself. My information is angie.wiegers@nkcschools.org. Have a great rest of your day.
All right, so that is library resources that are available to you. And with that, I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. We are super excited to finally get school started. We hope you're excited to get back to school, whether it be virtually or in person. But we want to thank you. If you still have questions, please use the chat function. We will continue to collect those questions and we will respond to those questions through an FAQ. The recording again will be posted on our website and everyone will get the link to that. I know we've given you a lot of information in a short amount of time. And so it will benefit you to go back, watch the recording and hit pause as you work through becoming a parent observer, etc. So again, we're super excited you were able to join us tonight. We're so glad that we're getting to finally start school next Tuesday. And I hope everyone has a fantastic rest of their evening. Thank you for joining us.
Click off.